Hello, and welcome to Getting Started with I/O Events for Adobe Commerce. I/O Events enables developers to build event-driven applications across multiple Adobe products, including Adobe Commerce. Now, Adobe Commerce exposes over 700 different events, covering things like updates to your product catalog, order status, and customer account updates. Developers can choose the events they need to work with and configure them to be sent to the Adobe I/O Events pipeline. From there, they can be consumed and acted upon in a number of different ways. First, you can build a runtime action in App Builder. A runtime action is a serverless function that can subscribe to a particular event and act on it. For example, transform the data and then send it across to a third-party application. You can also send events directly to a webhook on a third-party application. All events can be recorded in a journal where they will reside for a specified amount of time, and you can use our journaling API to read or retrieve those events and act upon them. And finally, you can send them to Amazon Event Bridge. Now, Amazon Event Bridge is Amazon's serverless event routing capability, and from there, you can use those events in multiple AWS services or also in third-party applications that are integrated with Amazon Event Bridge. The use cases for I/O events are many. You can use events to build event-driven integration with back-office systems like ERPs. For example, an order gets created in Adobe Commerce, you can send that order to your ERP. Or a customer account gets updated, you can send that update to your CRM system. In this example, we will be using an App Builder serverless function to send a product catalog update to a Slack channel. So let's get started. First up, I'm going to go to the Adobe Developer Console. You can get there by going to developer.adobe.com/console/home. Here, I'm going to create a new project, and I will select a project from template, which is essentially an App Builder project. Once I select that, I can choose App Builder as a template and give my project a name. Now, with every project, by default, two workspaces are created, production and stage. However, you can create additional workspaces depending on your developer flow. In this case, I'm going to be adding a runtime action, and so I will select I/O runtime. Now that I have my project, I can choose the particular workspace I want to work in. I'll go through the stage workspace. Now, in order to work with I/O events, I need to add a few services to my workspace. So I'll navigate over to Add Service and select the API I need to initialize this particular workspace. Here you can see all the different products that are available to use with App Builder and the different services that are there. To use I/O events, I will need to add the I/O Events API, the I/O Management API, as well as the Adobe I/O Events for Adobe Commerce API. And we'll need to add these one by one. Now that I have initialized my project and it's ready to consume events, I need to create the runtime action that will subscribe to the Adobe Commerce events. For that, I'll go to my command line. Now at my command line, I'll create a top-level folder in which I'll create my action. I can name it anything I want. And once I'm in the folder, I'll go ahead and authenticate against Adobe I/O. Now that I've been authenticated, I'm going to check where exactly I am. And that means which organization, which project, and which workspace I'm currently logged into. Now I am in the correct organization. However, I need to change my project and workspace. So I will go ahead and say AIO project select. I'll choose my newly created project, and now I'll select the workspace I need to work in. Now that I'm in the correct workspace, I will go ahead and initialize my App Builder project and select the extension points that I need to work with. I'll go through the prompts over here to select the template and the particular actions I need to create. For this example, I'll choose the Commerce Events template. Now I'll give my action name. I'm going to create one sample action and one action for events. And with that, my project is being initialized. Now that my app has been initialized, I'll go ahead and add the code for my runtime action. To do this, I will navigate to the folder for the app that I created. Now the action currently contains boilerplate code, so I'll go ahead and remove that, and I'll replace it with an action that I have to integrate with Slack. This action is fairly simple. All it does is it takes the event payload and uses the JSON stringify function to convert it to a string. Once converted, it posts it to my Slack webhook URL over here. So now that I have my action completed, I'll go ahead and deploy this app. Once deployed, I can go back to my developer console and create the event registration. In order to do that, I'll add a new event to my workspace. Here I can see the different products that are configured with my App Builder organization, and I will select Commerce Events. Now I could have multiple commerce instances configured as event providers. However, in this case, I have just one, and I will select that here. Here I can see the different events that are available for me to work with, and I'll select the product update event. Now here you can see the different ways in which you can use the event. Journaling is available by default, which means all events will be recorded, and you can use our journaling API to retrieve the events from the journal. I can also select a webhook and essentially put in the URL for a third-party application and send the event across as is. I can select a runtime action, which is what I will do in today's demonstration, or I can select my Amazon EventBridge account. So let's go ahead over here and select the runtime action I want to use. I deployed two different actions as part of my app. One was a sample action. However, I will use the Slack events action here. And with that, I have created my event registration. Now here is my journaling endpoint, and I can use this endpoint to retrieve using the API events that are in the journal. I can also go into credentials to see all of the different credentials and tokens I need in order to access the events using API. So now that I have this set up, I'm going to go back to my Adobe Commerce instance and make an update to a product to see the event flow through. Here I'll select one of the available products to me. So let's select product 15 and make a change to the price. The price is currently $10. I'll update this to $12.99. Now keep in mind that events are asynchronous, which means it may take a few seconds for the event to actually go through IO events and then on to my Slack channel. I can come to my workspace and select my product. And here I can go to the event browser, which is essentially browsing the journal. And this way I can monitor any of the events that are flowing through. By clicking on Go to Start, I can go to the start or starting point of the journal. Now, currently it says there are no events in your journal, and that means the event just hasn't flown through as yet. So let's try this again. And here we see that we get a response back. And here I can see that my product 15 has been updated with the new price that I entered, which was $12.99. I can also go across to my Slack channel here, and I see that there has been an update in my Slack channel showing that a product was updated and the new prices appear. So as you can see, Adobe I/O Events makes it very simple for you to build event-driven integrations with multiple applications, things like CRMs, auto management systems, search engines, or ERPs. And that concludes the session. Thank you for your time.